Today we're going to talk about utilizing emotions to make important and sometimes necessary changes in our lives. Everyone throughout their days and their lives experiences a range of emotions, but very few people really step outside of them to analyze or to even channel those emotions to make changes in their lives. Important changes. Now, I want to share several emotions that you can actually use to help push yourself to make important, positive, and significant changes in your life. Now, there's several emotions that when used consciously can change everything. Now, I've used them not even realizing that that's what I was doing, and I'll share a couple of my stories. The first one we're going to talk about is disgust. You wouldn't normally think that you would equate disgust with your ability to create something positive, but if you manage or channel it, it can be very powerful. Now, typically when someone feels disgusted, they're at the end of their rope, which is a great opportunity to say to yourself, I've had enough, I'm freaking done. Now, I remember one of my own experiences, or seminars as I call them, that I went through my first real estate crash in the 80s. And I don't talk about this experience very much because it was so overshadowed by my huge seminar in 2008 where I lost $50 million. But it's a great example of disgust for you to learn from. So I was really young, in my 20s, and inexperienced in business, but I'd done really well flipping and holding houses, and I had some toys which I thought were important at the time, like a Rolls Royce and a Maserati and a Pantera in my garage, and I lived in what was the equivalent of over $1 million house today. Then when that market crashed, and because of my inexperience in business in general, I ended up losing that house to foreclosure, and I actually had to sell the Rolls Royce for cents on the dollar just so I could make payroll for my employees. I ultimately had to lay off my entire staff, and I got to the low point, where I had to paint houses to have enough money to eat. Now, the reason I use this as an example is it got so bad one day, my mom brought me a bag of groceries because she was worried about me, right? So I went from having a Rolls Royce to having mom bring me a bag of groceries. So one day I'm painting a house and I had a meltdown. I threw the paintbrush down and I cried and got totally disgusted with myself and my pathetic pity party. And I told myself I'm never ever going to feel sorry for myself again. And I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and I quickly went out and built myself up again financially. And I bought 500 houses in that run. So I had used disgust to motivate myself to change. Now, whenever someone says enough is enough, not another day, not another hour, not another freaking minute like I'd done, it can become a life-changing event, my friend. Now, another critical emotion for change is desire. Like Napoleon Hill talks about in his book, Think and Grow Rich, he calls it a burning desire. Now, when you have a burning desire for change and it exceeds your desire to stay the same or exceeds your desire to avoid fear or failure, you're going to take action to make that change happen. You have to say to yourself, I want it now, and also know exactly what it is you want, and of course, why it's an absolute must. And that's when you'll make it happen. Another very powerful emotion for change is anger. Anger can cause you to push through fear and take risks to achieve what it is that you want. Now, what's important to do with anger is to shift it away from anything external and focus on what it is you want, utilizing that anger to get you to take action and move, and then ultimately shift that anger into passion. You can't make continued forward progress if you're angry. So you convert that anger to the positive emotion of passion. And I'll give you an example of this in my life. When I was a sophomore in high school, I had this massive crush on this girl named Sherry from another high school. And I called her every single day for months. And then one day, I found out her mom called me Old Faithful. Yeah. So I got so angry that summer that I decided to change my life, and I got a gym membership, and I worked out really hard, and I built my body up, and I got a job at a men's clothing store so I could get nice clothes, and I got my hair cut at a real salon instead of the barber college that I used to go to. And then one day I showed up at her house. When she answered the door, she didn't even recognize me. And then she started calling me. Now, the last emotion I want to talk about today is resolve. And there's a big difference between wishing for something, wishing for something better, for example, or a change versus coming at that change from a place of resolve, right? Resolve is when you say, I must, not I might or I hope. Resolve is driven by your will and your determination. When you're resolved, there's nothing that can stand in your way. When you're resolved, you do not give up. So change your shoulds to musts with resolve, and you'll take action and make positive change, my friend. Find your passion. Don't be afraid of change. The quality of your life is directly related to how much you can get outside your comfort zone. Embrace change and utilize these emotions to effectuate that change to help you create the absolute life of your dreams. I'm Khleif, wishing you a magnificent life filled with incredible passion and massive success.